months ago, I completed yoga teacher training, which was a huge deal for me for a couple different reasons. First of all, I do believe that it gives me the sanctioned permission to change in my blazer for yoga pants every day. Not that I really needed a piece of paper to give me that permission, because I totally do that already. I'd call it laziness, but it's just because I'm smart and yoga pants are comfortable, okay? So I completed that. The other reason it was a big deal for me is because I don't have a whole lot of body intelligence naturally. For instance, once while I was engaged in the very strenuous activity of crossing the street, I pulled a hamstring. So naturally, yoga didn't feel like something that was for me because I just didn't believe that was a place that I belonged. Fast forward to my early 30s, and I have children all of a sudden, and it turns out when you have babies, weird stuff happens to your body, and I was like, oh, I'm a human in a human body. I could take care of it, I guess. So that was a cool realization to have at 32 or whenever that was. Well, I wanted to learn yoga more deeply than just as a practitioner because there was something calling me about it. And I knew that it was something I needed to embed in my work as a coach and as a consultant and really as a writer and in the world. I found out why on the very first day of training when my trainer, Daniel Dolsky, said, yoga is the practice of seeking out obstacles to freedom and removing them. Yeah. Thank you. I know. Well, what's beautiful about that is that I've always been about freedom, liberation, and self-determination. And one of the things I know is true is that oftentimes those obstacles we need to remove toward our own freedom are external. There are things that happen to us, there are experiences we have, there are things that other people do to us, there are jobs we lose, and all those kinds of things. But often, the things that we need to remove, those obstacles we need to remove that are keeping us from freedom are actually internal. They're in us. And one of the things that I've learned is that we actually have 3 brains in our bodies. And I know what you're thinking, probably, because I'm really good at mind reading. Oh, Sarai, why are you calling us mutants? You don't even know us. But it's fine, I'm not calling you mutants. It's perfectly normal for boys and girls of your age to have 3 brains. We all do. We have neural connections in our hearts and in our guts. So we have our head brain, which we all celebrate. We're gonna talk about our head brain a whole bunch more tonight. Julie already did an awesome job of talking about that control panel in our brain. We've got our head brain. Huge fan over here. Anyone else love brains? Okay, cool, good, I'm so glad, me too. So we've got our head brain, which we pay a lot of attention to in our culture. We secretly have our heart brain and our guts brain too. What we typically do in Western culture though, is love the head brain so much that we don't care at all for these other brains. So imagine you have 3 children and you make 2 of them live in the garage because you just don't want to have to pay attention to them, right? I'm not speaking from experience. I love both of my children and my dog, and they all live in the house. But we do often cut ourselves off right here, right? So we have a really hard time feeling into our body. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a second to reconnect in with your guts brain and your heart brain, because when you're able to do that, you're able to actually re-access 2/3 of your amazing wisdom that you may not have accessed for a while. And the other beautiful thing about learning to access back into these 2 brains is that you also are able to start to believe them when they tell you the truth. And that's one of the things that also holds us back from making change in our lives is that we don't believe our guts when our guts are like, you need to leave this job right now. Because we're but the brain's saying, oh, we need money to live and you can't quit this job until you have 2 more years of experience or something like that. So we get in these arguments. So your guts are really smart and so is your heart. So I'm going to invite you to just sort of sit up straight in your chair and really feel that connection to your seat and feel where your buns are meeting your chair cushion. And then feel where that energy is and then start to bring it up into your guts here. This is your area of courage and of willpower and of your own self-determination. So sit with that feeling, really feel it. And then take another deep breath in and move that energy up to your heart and feel your heart. As you breathe in and out, feel that heartbeat, feel the lungs expanding into that space, and really open up your ability to love and be loved. And then move back up into your brain and ask the brain what it's thinking about all of this. If it's thinking, this is weird, I'm closing my eyes around a bunch of people and breathing, that's okay. Sometimes you can just be hey, head brain, it's not your turn right now. I love you just as much as I love your heart, and Guts is sisters, but it's not your turn, so just chill. And then your head brain will. How many of you have ever seen the cult classic film, The Wizard of Oz? Show of hands, please. Great. So I don't have to reveal the whole entire plot to you. That's wonderful news because it would take so long. All right. So if you think about it, The Wizard of Oz is like an allegory for almost everything in the whole world, but especially for the thing I'm telling you right now, because we, as like wonderful, innocent Dorothy Gale, are traipsing along through Oz, trying to find our way to the Emerald City, which is like our freedom. And all the things that happen along the way are obstacles. The yellow brick road is where we're going. That's how we're getting free. But we also are bringing with us a bunch of friends we've met along the way, right? We've met a hilarious scarecrow who only wants some brains. You know that guy, right? And then you also have met a wonderful, caring tin man who just needs a heart. And you also are carrying with you your cowardly lion friend who needs courage, right? And you're also Dorothy. It's all of the things. It's amazing. The beautiful thing about being Dorothy, of course, is that in the end, when she really wants to get home, when she really wants to get to freedom, all she has to do is click her beautiful ruby slippers together 3 times, saying, "There's no place like home, there's no place like home." And the truth is, she's had the power to do that the whole time. And you have the power to seek out your obstacles to freedom and remove them already. So congratulations. Go do it. Thank you.